Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat 3 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today now we go to New Hampshire for this episode with the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series. And we had William Byron in the car for this episode. And he didn't have the greatest qualifying effort, but it was still pretty solid there as he comes through turns 1 and turns 2 there on the first lap. He would move up forwards a little bit as he came towards the midway point of this race. He had gotten up to a top 10 position as he was going down into turn 3, looking to the inside of Spencer Gallagher, taking over the 9th position as he wouldn't really move much more forwards throughout this race as we came towards the final lap of this event, up to now 1 extra position in P8 as Byron went down into turn 3 and turn 4 for the final time here in New Hampshire. Byron coming through the center of the corner, now exiting turn 4, trying to chase down Brandon Jones, but not enough time as he would come through to finish 8th here for us in the Xfinity race. So a good, solid result from William Byron. I certainly was not disappointed with that. I was happy with how he ran, but now it's time to set our sights on the Cup Series race here in New Hampshire. We've gotten our first career win at this track back in our first season in the 42 car, and as it came through into qualifying, going down into turn 3 and turns 4, hoping for the best finish or qualifying effort possible here. Hopefully a top 5 is kind of what I was aiming for, and as it came out of turn 4 down the front straightaway, unfortunately we couldn't quite get a top 5 as we will start P7 with a 30.532 here for New Hampshire, so hopefully we can get up there and battle for victory today in New Hampshire.
Today, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series makes its one and only stop at New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the running of the Foxwoods Resort Casino 301. Opened in 1990, this 1-mile oval racetrack is in Loudon, about an hour north of Boston. New Hampshire previously hosted 2 NASCAR Cup events, but lost its playoff race to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway in 2018. So, these drivers only have one chance to make it count here. The green flag is in the air. Let's get ready to go racing on PRN.
Alright, we're ready to go green here for the Foxwoods Resort Casino 301 at New Hampshire. Kyle Busch on the pole. Second place is our teammate Chase Elliott, who we had a big run-in with last episode now as we get ready to start P7 here in New Hampshire. Behind the 4-car of Harvick, who is alongside the 42 of Kyle Larson. Now as the green flag is up, we are underway here in New Hampshire, the site of our first career win now as we try to get our second New Hampshire win today as we go down towards turns 1 for the first time. Elliott already out clear of Kyle Busch for the lead, so Busch had an awful start there. They're already crashing behind us. Ty Dillon goes for a spin, and that would bring out a caution on the first corner here in New Hampshire as we would get ready immediately to go back green here in the 8th position. Now we move up 1 spot, I think it was. No, sorry, we lost 1 spot as we started P7 now as Chase Elliott is out front with second place belonging now to Kyle Busch. Now as we get ready to go green again in New Hampshire, the green flag is back out on lap 3, approaching lap 4 once we cross the line here now as we're on the outside of the 41 car of Daniel Suarez as we go down into turns 1. Suarez in a must-win situation right now if he wants to make it to the playoffs now as we go on the outside of Larson in the 42, trying to make a 3 wide there as we exit turn 2, heading down the back straightaway. A great run through the center of the corner, moving up into the top, into the 6th position as we go into turn 3, making a 3 wide now with Boyer and Harvick, our former teammates, now as we come through the center of turn 3 and turns 4, and using this outside to my advantage as it pays off quite a bit, but now we lose momentum on the exit of the corner and still sit P6 as we go down the straightaway. Suarez closing in behind now as we go down towards turns 1. Elliott and Busch trying to drive away from the field there as we get into the wall as we just slid right into the corner. I got off the gas, hit the brakes, and the car just slid right into the wall. And Boyer, he slid too, but thankfully for him, he kept it off the wall. And you see, we would pick up some damage now as we came through a couple laps later on lap 7. Daniel Suarez had gotten past me as we came through down into turn 3, sitting up though in the 4th position as we came through the center of the corner. Suarez showing a lot of speed, and he would have enough speed to pass Chase Elliott and move up to second as we came through out of turn 2 on lap 9 now with a run on the outside of our teammate of Elliott now. Hopefully he's not going to get into us now as we go down towards turn 3 on the outside of Elliott, using the speed in the car to just completely drive on past him and get clear as we go through turn 3 and turns 4, moving up into that 3rd position. But once we would get past Elliott, we wouldn't really be able to do anything else after that. As we came to just 2 to go in the first stage, still sitting though right behind Daniel Suarez as Kyle Busch leads the way as we come through turn 3, exiting turn 4, approaching the final lap here in stage 1, heading down the front straightaway now. So Busch clearly in command with a good chance to win this stage unless he has some major issue on this final lap, which is very unlikely to happen now as we close in towards the back of Suarez, but it doesn't look like we quite have the speed to be able to get past him though. But we do build up a run on the straightaway, but we get into the back of him there as I was going to look to his outside, but he closed the door on me. That was 100% my fault going for that move now as we go down into turn 3 though, sticking it up the outside as we come through the center of the corner for the final time here in stage 1 as Suarez gets clear as we exit turn 4, heading down the front straightaway. Kyle Busch wins the stage. Suarez holds on to second, and we come through to get P3 here in the first stage, which is a pretty solid result for us after stage 1, so I was pretty happy with that. Kyle Busch picks up a playoff point. Eric Jones down there in 10th. Jimmy Johnson, our teammate, up in 9th, needs to win to get into the playoffs, so keep that in mind now as we get ready to restart here for stage 2. No pit stop, so we're going to have to keep with the damage on the car until the end of stage 2 as we're ready to start behind Kyle Busch for the beginning of the stage as the green flag is out. Not a good restart at all for the 18 of Kyle Busch. The AI certainly lacked speed on the restarts at New Hampshire in this game as we go down towards turns 1, giving him a little bit of a bump now as we go down into turns 1 and 2. Behind us, Dylan going for a big slide as there's a lot of contact made, and Johnson moves through up into the top 5 as we come out of turn 2 down the straightaway side by side with Suarez for the second position. And behind me, I just saw the 3 get really sideways. I think he might have actually gotten into our back bumper, but thankfully we hold on and take over second place from Daniel Suarez in the 41. And now Chase Elliott's going to come through to take over the 3rd position as Jimmy Johnson sits down there in P5, trying to move up into the 4th position, or into the 3rd position. He's actually in 4th right now as we go down into turns 1, getting a little bit sideways again, as that was certainly a big issue I was dealing with, and that allows Elliott to look to my inside now as we come down the back straightaway, clearing him very easily though as we ride in second place behind Kyle Busch as we go down towards turn 3 and turn 4 here on the second lap in the second stage. Elliott still P3, and Johnson, he would get past Daniel Suarez now as it came to lap 6, starting to pull away from the cars. 3rd and behind now is Kevin Harvick going for a big slide behind us, but he keeps it straight now as he actually briefly touched the wall going down the back straightaway, trying to stay with Kyle Busch, but he's certainly putting a gap between himself and I as we go down into turn 3, but we would end up getting a caution, and that would set us up for a restart again here in stage 2. And we're ready to go green once again now as the green flag is back out. Less than 10 to go on this second stage. Kyle Busch leading the way. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Chase Elliott on the road behind us. Jimmy Johnson now has fallen back as we go down into turns 1 and turns 2. Kyle Busch a little bit sideways there. It sounded like going into the corner now, as it's not a good restart for myself now as we get back to the outside though of Chase Elliott, and we do clear him down the straightaway, so it ended up being a pretty good restart now as we go down towards turn 3, trying to look to the outside of the 18 of Kyle Busch as we come through the center of turn 3 and turns 4, but the tires are certainly starting to fall off at this point, so I knew that our chances of winning the stage were pretty low, and that's certainly going to be a big factor towards the end of this race there, as now Elliott looks to my inside as we go down towards turns 1 and turns 2. The car was just falling off big time as I go for another slide, pushing up the track as we come through turns 1 and turns 2. Harvick getting clear of me now as we went down the back straightaway, falling down to P4, but we look back to his inside down the back straightaway at his quarter panel, now his door, as we go down into turn 3 behind our teammate of Chase Elliott, getting into the back room just a little bit, but we take over P3 for the brief moment. And as we came through on lap 11 now, Clint Boyer, he had moved up into 4th, and he had the speed to get to my inside as I was just really struggling to turn the car at this point as we get into the wall and lose the position to him. And as we came to another lap later, Newman getting into the side of me, pushing me out of the way, and he would take over the 5th or the 4th position as we drop back to P5, as the stage would actually end early there as it came across the line. The caution would come out for some reason I couldn't find again, but that would set us P5 in stage 2. We would come to pit road to take 2 cans of fuel, 4 tires, and repairs, and we would end up giving up some positions as I also made a tire pressure adjustment as we dropped 7 positions to P12 for the final stage. Certainly lacking speed towards the end of stage 2 now as the green flag is back out, and we are underway here in New Hampshire for the 3rd and final stage. 40 laps remain at this point as we go down towards turns 1 and turns 2 now as we go for a big slide into the wall. We go already there as I just went to turns 1 and the back end just kicked out on me, and I just couldn't do anything about it, so already damaging the right side of the car as we go down the back straightaway. a big cluster of cars as we have some slow cars up front as we get into the back of the 9 of Elliott now. As we go into turn 3, and we're going to send him spinning as we come through the center of the corner. 100% my fault as the caution would fly there. That was not intentional at all. Obviously, me and Elliott have had a history here recently, including last episode, but I did not mean to do that at all. I just got into the back of him and completely wiped him out by accident. I felt really bad for that one, but we have to keep focused on the rest of this race now as we have to set our sights forwards now as the green flag does come back out. Hopefully Elliott can still recover from that. He's certainly not going to be happy with me, I doubt. We've had now 3 run-ins this season. 2 of them have been my fault. We dumped him at Pocono, and now we've dumped him today. Last episode was 100% his fault in my opinion, so now as we come out of turn 2, getting a little sideways there, getting onto the apron, but yeah, we have to keep focused on this race now as they battle quite a bit behind me, going 4 wide for a brief moment now as we go down into turn 3, sending it up the inside of the 12 of Blaney. Like I said, we do have some slower cars up front, so I was getting right onto the apron, taking advantage of it as Brendan gone. He leads away alongside the 37 of Chris Buescher. A little bit of contact there with Ryan Blaney as we go down the back straightaway. 36 laps remain at this point here in New Hampshire. Now he's going to turns 1, going for a bit of a slide again, as when I just went into the corner and hit the brakes, the back end just slid out on me. It certainly has been an issue we've been dealing with this whole race here in New Hampshire now as we go down the back straightaway, going up the inside now of Almirola and Bubba Wallace as we go down into turn 3. This slow traffic though certainly helping me, and it might give us a chance within another lap or so to potentially take the lead now as we go down the front straightaway. Kyle Busch and Boyer side by side. We know they're the next fastest cars, and as we went down the back straightaway into turn 3 on the next lap, making it 3 wide with Kyle Busch and Boyer now as we come through, a chance to take the lead now as we're 3 wide with Gahn and Buescher as we go down the front straightaway. 3 wide for the lead here in New Hampshire as we head down towards turns 1 with 34 to go. We would take the lead as Busch, he gets into the back of me now as he goes sideways, and he hangs on to the car now as Boyer's going to come through to my inside as we exit turn 2 down the back straightaway. We go great battling here for the lead in New Hampshire as we still side by side with Boyer, but I send it deep into turn 3 to take over the lead, and we would be in command as we would drive away with 28 to go in this race. We had well over a second lead, I think, between myself and Boyer, maybe just under a second now as we came through the center of the corner. Damage to the back bumper, damage to the front, damage to the right side of the car, certainly not good, but as we came to lap 51, still at this point pulling away from Clint Boyer as we came through turns 3 and turns 4, so looking very strong right now here in New Hampshire. And as we came to lap 56, still managing the gap between myself and second place of Boyer or Kyle Busch. Busch might have moved up into second at this point, but the tires at this point were starting to wear, and that was causing my pace to start to fall off as we went further into this run. And now as we came through on lap 59, 17 to go, we were also starting to close in on lap traffic as there's a car up in the wall through turns 1 and turns 2, and it looks like it's Ryan Truex just blown up, and no caution gets called, surprisingly, which is really good for me because I know if we get a caution, we're pretty much done for at this point because the tires are worn so much. And now as we came to lap 63, Kyle Busch starting to close in on me, and we came to a few laps later, getting to our first car of Parker Kligerman to lap now as we go down the front straightaway. Busch continuing to close in as we go down into turns 1 and turns 2, getting this very sideways again, sliding into the 96, and that allows Busch to close right up on us now as we come through the center of the corner. And Busch would actually get to my outside as we came to a few laps later, trying to get past Hailie Deegan now. As you see Kyle Busch in my mirror looking to my right hand side as we come out of turn 4, we have to get past Deegan to put herself between me and Kyle Busch so I can get away from him. As we go into turns 1, a desperate move to the inside of Deegan, and we hit her in the left side, and around she goes as I completely choke it away now as Boyer gets clear of me just about, and the caution flies. And right here, I knew we had just choked away the victory, sending it in desperately, trying to get past Hailie Deegan. I drove straight into the side of her, making no friends here lately in this career mode now as the green flag comes out. Only 4 laps to go as we cross the line, but I know our tires are worn so much that we are in big trouble now as Kyle Busch, he gets to my inside. Not a good restart for myself, and as we go into turns 1, this is our only chance maybe to do something, but I had completely no chance. The tires were so worn, I just completely screwed it up as we go down the back straightaway. I choked away the victory as we just wrecked Hailie Deegan and have allowed everybody to be around me as I send it up the inside of Busch, so desperately trying to hang on as we continue to slide on the entrance of the corners, getting clear of Busch. Not how I wanted to do it, but like I said, every time I just go into the corner, the car just slides on me now as we can barely turn on the exit of the corner as well as we hit 3 to go. Now just pretty much dropping through the field as you see how much I slide going into turns 1 and turns 2. This would allow Harvick and other cars to look to my inside and get past me as well as we came into turn 2, heading down down the back straightaway, continuing to fall down the order as we came to just 2 laps ago. We had fallen now outside of the top 10, just behind our teammate of Jimmy Johnson in the 48 cars go through turns 3 and turns 4. Our other teammate Alex Bowman come through as well to pass me as we come out of turn 4, heading towards the line to cross the line to hit the white flag here in New Hampshire. A good race for us has completely gone bad now as we're outside of the top 10 here on this final lap in New Hampshire. Busher now looking to my inside as we exit turn 2, heading down the back straightaway for the final time in New Hampshire, trying to hold off the 37 of Busher as we're going to send it down into turn 3. And as we go down towards turn 3 for the final time, now just holding on to P13 as we go for a bit of a slide again, and Busher gets to my back bumper now as we try to be defensive, but as we come out of turn 4, the car is too tight to turn, and we're going to briefly get into the wall, allowing Busher to my inside as we come through to cross the line. Larson as well edges me out, and we come through to get P15 here in New Hampshire. A very, very unfortunate finish for myself in New Hampshire. Not what we needed to have happen at all. Now, as I could not see the winner there, as I completely forgot to mention it, but it will come up again. Clint Boyer, he won the race, so he might be win number 2 on the season for Clint Boyer. Either way, we pretty much choked away win number 3 on the season. Unfortunate stuff for us there is indeed Boyer's second win on the season. Logano sitting P4 in the points, still without a victory, as we did have the fastest lap here in New Hampshire, but the last couple races have gone pretty rough for us, so not what we need to have happen. Hopefully we can build back the momentum that we had earlier in the season. Haley Deegan obviously not happy with me, understandable. I was desperate and I made an idiotic move and completely cleaned her out, unfortunately. Not what we needed to do, but hopefully we can rebound here within the next episode. But as always, if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Those would all be very, very appreciated. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. In the next one, we go to Iowa for Xfinity. I'm not sure what the cup race is. It might be the second Pocono race, if I remember correctly. But there you see the playoff standings. McMurray, 43 points out, and Johnson, 145 out. Like I said, he's in a must-win situation here at this point in the season. So right now, Logano and Almirola are the last cars in. We'll see if that continues. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have yourselves a great day.